She's loving this. I'm dying.
Hey everybody, Michelle Broadnax here with Real Estate Staging Association. I am so excited to talk to everybody today for a professional development, a webinar with my friends at Zoom Casa, Ted and Fred. Hello, fellas. How are you?
Hi there. Good afternoon. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for your time.
Absolutely. Let's just do some little technology check here. So anybody that's on, if you can hear me, go ahead and just type in the chat box that yes, you can hear me. That would be fantastic. And can you also verify that you can see the three of us? That way we know our technology is working and we can move on to the next step of this exciting hour that's going to change all of your lives. And then we go dead silence when you think nobody can hear you.
People.
You're here from Portland. Great. Can anybody hear me? Bobby McGrath, can you type in for me that you can hear and see us? Lori, thanks. Perfect. Thank you, Carol. I appreciate you. Hey, Lori Kinsell, how are you? Bobby McGrath, one of my besties. And Sophie, thanks for joining us. So as we're getting going and people are starting to drop on, go ahead and just type in the chat box what state you are located and how many years you've been in business so we can see that. That way we kind of know the temperature of our audience, who we're talking to. That would be fantastic. Now I'm going to say it for the people that can't hear, or I'm going to type it in for the people that can't hear. If you can't hear, restart it. Because the issue will be on your end. Make sure your volume is turned up. Turn up volume. And I'm sorry if that's going to be misspelled because I can't see. I don't have my glasses on. So go ahead and type in where you're from, everybody, and how many years you've been in business. So I know, Bobby, I think you've been in business well over 10 years, and Bobby's in North Carolina. Lori's got 4 years, awesome, in Arizona. We want this to be very interactive. Awesome, Sophie, glad you can hear us. Kansas, fantastic. Charlotte, North Carolina, 3 years. Hey, Stace, I just bought a property in North Carolina up in Columbus. Brian, you'll have to come see me. Got a horse farm. You can come ride a pony. 2 years, beautiful. Minneapolis, 1.5 years. First year, awesome. All right, so we've got people from all over, and now Texas, 4 years, Lola, and Tia's in Maryland with 2 years, awesome. So we've got everybody, a big, nice range of stagers here, so that is so awesome. Now, we always want these webinars to be very interactive, and we want you, we're gonna first talk a little bit just about the Zoom Casa program, answer some questions, and then we're gonna go to a slide presentation, just has some FAQs that have been asked recently. We just want to clear up any misunderstandings about the platform, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So again, Fred is in the glasses. Say hi, Fred.
Hello, everybody.
Not in the glasses. Say hello, Ted.
Hi, everybody.
And we're super excited. So in a nutshell, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over and ask Ted, can you just briefly, couple sentences, tell everybody exactly what Zoom Casa is?
So Zoom Casa is a concierge platform that works with residential real estate space to provide complete solutions and services to get houses ready for sale. And that's from very high level renovation, and we facilitate renovation and we facilitate staging. We're able to do so in a painless way for the consumer where they don't have to pay any cash up front out of pocket. We facilitate the work such that everything's paid after the house sells out of escrow.
Awesome. So now also let me add to that Zoom Casa actually is a two-pronged approach to the concierge service. So not only do real estate agents contact Zoom Casa first for their concierge services with everything that Ted just mentioned, including wanting a bid from a stager, but they will also help stagers to be able to have your payments collected out of escrow when you do a staging. So what that means is you, if you become a partner of Zoom Casa and you have a client who's on the fence about staging and they're balking because of money, cash on hand, no problem. Zoom Casa is going to fix that for you because you can give that client your cash price now, and then you can also say, here's our close of escrow price. And then Zoom Casa will pay you up front and then they get paid back out of escrow. So did I describe that perfectly?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's brilliant, right, everybody? I know everybody's got to be so excited about that. I was certainly excited about it. I know in the past we've tried certain things. I know there was a credit card at one point, but you really don't want to put any more debt when you're trying to buy a home. So this was a really great way to be able to help grow your business as a stager, and then also help service those clients that might be cash poor at the time.
I would, if I may point out, that we look at staging as something that a lot of people would prefer to pay out of escrow, even if they have the cash on hand. So it's a convenience factor as well, not just if they don't have any money.
Yeah, that is true too. If they don't have to worry about it and they can kind of postpone it, it's definitely worth it. Let's talk a little bit about, so your program is a concierge. I want everybody to really understand what that means, because I think there's a little bit of confusion with the two-prong approach. So for example, if a real estate agent contacts in Casa and they know they have a listing that needs some help, so they're going to need maybe some carpet replaced, some floors repaired, doing a power wash, things of that nature, they're going to call Zoom Casa because Zoom Casa is actually acting as that kind of like a project manager. So what they do is they're going to send a feeler out to all of those vendors that they have, which would include the power washers, the floor repair, the stagers, and then ask them to be able to bid these particular jobs. Now with staging, some of the confusion out there was that stagers were thinking that they didn't actually physically bid the job, and that is not accurate. So let's talk about that for a minute.
So a lot of time, we have relationships with a lot of international and large brokerages around the country, and they want to be able to add value to their clients to justify a full service commission. And there's a lot of conversation in the industry, and one of the trends is that full service brokerages are trying to add a lot of value so as to differentiate themselves from the Redfins of the world. And one of the ways they want to do that is to be able to offer a concierge solution to their homeowners to prepare their home for sale. So we have a relationship with a lot of brokerages around the country where they have an app, and the agent has one contact point, which is Zoom Casa. And the agent can go on the app and say, I want this listing power washed, painted, flooring replaced, and I'm thinking about staging, but I'm not sure. And we are a single contact point for them, for the agent. As a concierge service, we coordinate to have our partners, the vendors on our platform, which include stagers, go out to the property to prepare proposals. We prepare a single bid, which is one piece of paper that the homeowner receives from the real estate agent. And it's a painless, seamless process. And every proposal that we give a client that comes through a real estate agent is payable out of escrow. So the concierge, in the true sense of the word, you pick up the phone once, you have one contact person that holds your hand, and one person comes together to make sure that the agent only has to visit with vendors once. So there's one meeting with the contractor, with the painter, with the stager, whoever might need to be there. So it's truly a simplified, expedited process.
Absolutely. So when you have the lead and it comes to you, and then you want to get a bid from one of the stagers that are partnered on your platform, can you explain how that process works?
Sure. So a lot of times we get calls for we need painting and carpeting. And a lot of real estate agents are not familiar with staging, or they don't understand the value of it. So the first thing we do is we always encourage them to get a proposal to the stage, because we think that the vast majority of homes could benefit from it. Our approach to delegating leads to our partners is as follows. We have a round robin approach, meaning that if we have 5 stagers and 5 carpet vendors in a market, those partners will receive a lead as a member of our platform, as one of our partners. So the first lead we come in for painting and carpet goes to painter A or carpet guy A and stager A. Lead 2 goes to carpet guy B, stager B. And we go through our list, and it's completely equitable. We only give leads to one of our partners. We are never going to give a lead to 3 stagers or 3 carpet guys. Why? We don't want to waste your time. If we receive a lead, we get one proposal. Now, we expect that the pricing that we receive is fair. Fair does not mean cheap. Fair does not mean profitable. Fair means that it's commensurate with the value that you're adding, whether that be as a stager, as a carpet installation guy, or as a painter. And we do this because we don't want our partners to face pricing competition and pricing pressure. We want to ensure that the work that we give you and that we're facilitating here is something that you like doing and you enjoy doing and works for both parties. So we don't compete. Our value proposition to real estate agents and homeowners is not that we compete on price. We are not the low-cost provider. period. So it's a concierge service, and folks expect to pay that.
Yeah, absolutely. So at that point, you're going to give the lead, you're going to introduce the stager on your platform to the client, and then they're going to actually go out to be able to view the property. So it gives you stagers, it's a great opportunity to get that lead. You get to sell your own value, you get to meet the client, you're going to find out if you are going to vibe with each other. That's the opportunity where you're really building that trust with that client, just like you would if the lead had come to you through your website or through a referral. So you're able to do that, get the relationship, figure out what your bid is, and then you're going to give that price to Zoom Casa, and then Zoom Casa sends the rest of that bid over, because it's the rest of everything as well through the concierge service to that particular client. Is that correct?
Exactly. So if you're a stager and you receive a proposal from a lead from us, you prepare your bid, you prepare your proposal, you submit it to us, and we take that proposal along with ones that we're getting from other vendors, and we put together one master proposal.
Yeah.
It's a single piece of paper that the homeowner can see and understand. And if they have questions, they're welcome to contact the stager directly. But a lot of times they don't want to manage 5 different relationships and make a bunch of phone calls.
Right.
So they'll call us and say, I have a question about the staging, and I have a question about the paint color, and I have a question about the landscaping. Can you please get back to me with these 3 answers? And in that way, we're just making the homeowner and the real estate agent's life easier. But if they really vibe with the stager and they get along great and they want to talk about whatever they want to talk about, they're welcome to communicate with you. It's just a matter of the pricing, and delivering the pricing is something that we handle, just because that's part of our value as a concierge service.
Right. So now a lot of this last week, we heard some stagers saying, but I don't want anybody to get my bids. And people were kind of mixing up 2 of the processes. So I want stagers to understand that this is not Zoom Casa getting involved in your business. When the lead comes to Zoom Casa, this is you being a partner with Zoom Casa in their business. So you are actually working with them on a project. So just imagine, kind of like on HGTV, where everybody has the role to play when you're flipping a house. Your stagers come in, you have your mortgage lender, you have your guy who always does the countertops. It's that type of concept when you're coming in on a project, when the lead is given to you through Zoom Casa. And because it's a concierge service, that is the reason why Zoom Casa presents the bid in its totality to the client when the lead comes to them. So now let's talk about the other approach with Zoom Casa for stagers, is that you are staging and you get a phone call through a referral or through your website, and that particular client wants staging. Well, now if you can offer out of escrow payment for the staging to that particular client. So once you develop your relationship with that client, you give your bid to that client. You don't have to go through Zoom Casa to do that. And you can present with them your cash price now to pay in full at time of staging. And then here's the cost to defer your payment through escrow. And if they agree to that, then all you're going to do is you're going to take some language that Zoom Casa is going to provide for you. You're just going to add that onto your contract. It's literally, I think, 1 or 2 sentences. And all that states is basically is that you're allowing this to be paid through Zoom Casa. And then the client signs the agreement with Zoom Casa in order to be able to, for Zoom Casa, for them to get reimbursed back at an escrow. And then Zoom Casa pays you directly. So they're not involved with your bids. You have complete control over everything it is that you do when you are bringing the business to Zoom Casa. It's only on the other side of it when you're acting as a partner with Zoom Casa where the bid comes from Zoom Casa to the initial Zoom Casa client, because they're not your client. That's why they're giving the bid. I hope that makes sense. So because I explained that, it's a lot of words to kind of jumble. Are there any questions about that right now? Go ahead and type it in that chat box. If I can clarify anything, or if perhaps something was a little bit unclear, I'm happy to clean that up. And as we go along as well, if you have any questions, just go ahead and type that in. Doesn't seem like we have any questions about that, so hopefully it was explained clearly. But again, if it's not, just type the question in and we will be happy to address that. What else can we add to this process right now? Well, here's a question. Do we still receive the payment for the staging or at close? Lori, this is so you receive payment first. You will never receive payment out of escrow. Zoom Casa is going to get their money back from the sale of the home through escrow. So Zoom Casa pays the stager first at the time of staging, and then they get reimbursed later. Great question, Lori. Bobby's got a question. Do you vet the stagers? A luxury stager might not have inventory for a lower priced home and vice versa. Bobby, you're speaking my language, girlfriend. We are covering that for sure. And then absolutely 100% true. They absolutely need to vet their stagers. Great question, and I actually want to talk about that. It is super important that they vet their stagers, and let me tell you why. It's the same thing that when you are vetting your movers or anybody that want to work with you, you need to know that they're on the up and up and they're up for the challenge. Same thing with Zoom Casa, because when you are going to be receiving leads from Zoom Casa and you're going to be on that side of the transactions, they want to vet you and they want to make sure that your inventory is up to speed, that you're using professional photography on your warehouse, on your website, that you are a legitimate professional stager and you have the inventory to support the jobs. So I believe, gentlemen, you're also looking at being able to match people during your round robin, because you will have luxury round robin and your average home stagers that you will actually, when you do that, that is a consideration that you're making when you refer the business, correct?
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's a huge part of our value add is the vetting, and that we may get an inquiry on renovation. And so we say, the highest return on investments is staging. And we've spent an incredible amount of time finding fantastic stagers that can do a wonderful job. And that gives us confidence to not only sell the stagers on our platform, but also to say, we're going to have a stager go out and they're going to present you, they're going to walk the house and present a proposal to do it right. And if there's ever a homeowner that says, well, I want to get a bunch of bids or what have you, we say, you know what, we found the right person for the house. They spent the time and the energy to put together the proper proposal. And that's why we're very confident in the staging proposal that's presented to you. So we're going to go with that proposal that's been presented. And we're going to leave it at that. We're not introducing other stagers. We're not looking to facilitate price competition in any way, shape, or form.
I love it. So does a client have to do any type of financial check to be accepted? How can we explain how it is that this works? So I want everybody to be really, I'm going to kind of use an analogy first to kind of explain why this is not called your typical financing. One, there's laws that prevent this. You have to, it's a totally different business model, but it's kind of like, I used to work in the collections industry, so I know this business model well. It's really kind of like they're buying debt. They're buying your receivable is what it is, but they're paying you 100% on the dollar. We're in a collection agency. When I used to buy debt, I was lucky if I paid 10 cents on the dollar for debt. And then when I collected it, of course, then I could make a 90% profit off of that. Well, they're paying you dollar for dollar, penny for penny on your staging, and then they're taking that out of escrow. So it's a deferred payment process, not a finance plan. And I'll defer to you, Fred, on really the more the legal language and logistics of that part.
We're offering the client the ability to pay out of escrow. We're just willing to wait for our money.
Yep.
So this is not a loan. We're not a finance company. We do not make loans. We don't require a loan application. We don't require income documentation. What we're looking for is a few things. One, that the person that we're talking to owns the house. And believe it or not, a lot of times the people we're talking to are not the actual owner. So who's on title? Two, we're looking to make sure that they're going to list the home for a market price, but also with a real estate agent that's a professional. So if the homeowner is going to list his home for sale by owner, that's not a client we're going to work with. If we also want to make sure that they're not in bankruptcy and they're not in foreclosure. So assuming that they meet those qualifications, which virtually all the time they do, there's no minimum credit score, there's no income requirements, we will move forward with them. The entire process is 3 to 4 minutes, in which case we run a quick title and a quick valuation model on the home. And it's entirely automated.
So I'm assuming you must have some sort of internal formula that determines between the equity of the home and the potential sales price. That's, you're going to have your formula there, whether you're not going to accept it or not.
Right, but it's not rigid, right? We realize there's a lot of people in different circumstances. So as long as they have a reasonable amount of equity, which the vast majority of Americans now do just because the housing market is so hot, and they're going to list the home for a price which is in the range of a market price, we don't dictate that, we'll move forward. And that's part of our value add, where we spend a lot of time trying to figure out. We spend a lot of money building the technology to do that, which is, how do we know in a few minutes, what's this house worth? What are they going to list it for? Who are they going to list it with? And how much equity do they have? And that's our problem, because we're taking all the credit risk.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stager gets paid in full upfront. It has no liability after that.
It's such a no-brainer. It really is, and it's so much less complicated than a finance. And that's the beauty of this particular program that I love, especially from my backgrounds in the collections industry. I really get this business model. Now, if you go into finance, man, you got all kinds of other problems and restrictions you're going to have to deal with, and this is super smart. So Diane has a question. is there a required format for providing the staging proposal, or can we do it on your own? So Diane, let me answer part of that. If you, oh, I can see it, so wonderful. My gosh, it makes a world of difference sometimes, y'all. It's really mind blowing when you put glasses on. Diane, when you are bringing the client who's in Casa, you're treating your client like you normally do. Nothing changes. They're your client. You do your own proposal. So, Fred, when the stager gets their bid together for you, do you also ask that they send you exactly what's going to happen, like which rooms are going to be staged, you know, the whole, like their normal bid that would be with their price?
We ask them to do however they handle their business in the ordinary course of business. And we have folks that call us, we have folks that text us, and we have folks that send us great presentations with photos. So however you do it, we're happy to work with you.
Cool. So I would say your regular bid that you would give to your regular client, if you are bidding on a job that the lead came from Zoom Casa, use your same process. The only difference is you're going to give it to Zoom Casa instead of giving it to the homeowner or the agent directly. Great question, Diane. Stacy has a question. What happens if you stage and something happens or they decide they don't want to move? Stacy, you've been paid, girlfriend. You've been paid, so it's Zoom Casa's loss at that point. Is that correct, gentlemen?
Yeah, so, but to be clear, the homeowner will eventually pay for whatever services were rendered. So if this is not like we're going to stage your house for free if you decide not to move, and that's disclosed all up front in writing to the homeowner. And depending on the market, we typically give them 90 days after the home is staged in order to sell the home. And after that, we have a conversation. We call them up and say, what's going on? Is the home on the market? Was there a flood? What's going on?
We talk to the realtor.
We talk to the realtor. And as long as the home is being actively marketed and they're reasonable, we'll sit there and wait to get paid. No problem. But if they take the home off the market, maybe they fall in love with your furniture, maybe they just decide they don't want to move. No harm, no foul. We send them an invoice. We give them some time to pay. But they're not going to get their house staged for free. So we should lay that out there to begin with.
But the bottom line, Stacey, is it's not your risk or your issue at that point if that happens. So what was that question?
And we'll support you and help you get your furniture out.
True, that's true. Lola has a question. Would there only be a conflict if the realtor approached both the stager and Zoom Casa, and there are multiple stagers partnering in your area? I think I'm kind of understanding the question, but I don't see that there's any conflict whatsoever. You could have 50 stagers in an area. If the lead comes to Zoom Casa, you're going to be on a rotation mark. And if you, Lola, you might bid a job and bid it directly to your client that came directly to you. You could bid it, I'm going to use round numbers for the sake of ease. You could bid it at 5,000. They could also go to another stager in your area that they might bid it at 6,500. And they can give it to another stager in there if they want to go for the trifecta bid and get something for $3,500. All three of you could be on the Zoom Casa platform and be able to offer the pay at escrow option, but there's no conflict there because you are all competing on your own anyway with those particular clients. So you've met them, you've shown your value. They're going to pick that person based off whatever it is. So if they're a tie picker and they're a price shopper, they might go for the lowest one. Most of the time when people aren't shopping for price, they tend to go for the medium or the highest level anyway. So I don't see any conflict. If I'm not understanding the question, go ahead and retype in there and we'll kind of loop back around to that. Gentlemen, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I will say though that if we do get a call and the homeowner wants staging or they say I want painting, the first thing we ask is there a stager or a painter that you like working with and have had a great experience with? So if we get a call from someone that's calling us directly and they have a pre-existing relationship with someone, if that person's on our platform, that individual will get the bid before it goes to the round robin.
There you go.
The reason for that is because we understand that the stagers are working very, very hard to develop relationships with real estate agents. And so if they've just developed a relationship, if they've done great work and developed a relationship, then we want them to be able to reap the benefit of that relationship. And so we would never want to get in the way of that. So if the real estate agent says, yeah, I'd like to work with this person, this stager, and they're on our platform, then we'd absolutely be glad to facilitate that. We want to honor and respect that.
And I think a lot of the times too is that once agents know that their particular stager they work with has this as an option, most of the time, once they know that, they're going to go to the stager first. They already know that the option is there. So it's great that it can work both ways. You know, that
Absolutely.
and they can still go to the stager. So Sandy has a question. What happens if the customer doesn't like part of the proposal from one of the other vendors? So let's say they're getting 3 or 4 bids through your concierge, and they love the staging part, but they don't like the floor part. How do you guys handle that?
So we purposely present our proposals on a line item basis. And so we understand that clients are looking to potentially hit a particular budget. And so there may be, just for simplicity, 4 things in the line item basis. There may be fix a leaky roof, do some painting, do some flooring, and then staging. Well, they may say, in order to hit the budget, we need to do the roof, and we need to do the painting. We're going to lay off on the flooring, and then we're going to do the staging. In which case, we say, absolutely, let's go forward. That's fine.
Perfect. Love it.
Yeah.
And Bobby, do you also confirm the stager has liability insurance?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
That's part of our vetting function. That's part of our value add. Again, we're seeking to sell our stagers, and so that's one of the reasons, one of the many reasons we ask for that. And then we present that to the real estate agent, say, look, these people are approved on our platform because of all these vetting functions, and that relieves any concern on the part of the real estate agent.
Beautiful. And you guys are in all states, so you're able to do this in every state?
Yes.
Yeah.
What about Canada?
Q4.
Cool.
We actually had an inquiry from Canada yesterday, so that's great.
I've got 300 people from Canada that will be happy to hear about that. My Canadian people up there, we've got like 300 people in Ontario alone, and so they'll be very excited about that.
That's fantastic. Well, we look forward to meeting them.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Kim is asking, what are the fees for the client? So how much does it cost them to be able to defer payments through escrow?
So it depends on the market. In certain geographies, we have certain fixed costs. And as you can imagine, California is one of the most expensive ones. Typically, it's in the neighborhood of 20%. Typically, our concierge fee has a minimum dollar amount of $1,000. So if we're just doing staging, that minimum typically kicks in, especially in a lot of states. But if it's a full project where it's a full preparation for sale, which is typically painting, flooring, staging, and other concierge services, typically around 20%. But we're experimenting with our pricing model. Nothing's stuck in stone. And we're learning as we go and trying to as we get scale, we'll be able to bring costs down. That's our hope and intention. But you're looking around 20%. So the good idea is, like, if your staging cost was $5,000, with our concierge service, it would be $6,000 out of escrow.
There you go.
That's a good rule of thumb.
Yep. So it's a little bit different in all the different areas, but again, it's presented to the client with both options, as the cash pay or the out of escrow payments, that they can defer that, and then it's totally their choice. So again, another question has come up: if the house doesn't sell, does it affect your payment? No, you get paid before you stage. So you're paid, you're out of it. But let's look at inventory in the home, guys. How are the rental fees? Because most stagers have a monthly rental. How is that affected into this equation?
So our preference is that we will facilitate staging for up to 6 months. So we realize that everyone presents a proposal differently. Sometimes you have a 30 days and then the 30-day kicks in. Some people do 4 months at a fixed price, and then you have monthlies. Our preference is to have the monthlies paid by us and give the client 6 months to sell their home. That being said, we have some stagers that prefer to collect the monthlies directly because they want to get their inventory back faster, and they figure if the client has to come out of pocket to pay it, inventory will come back faster. We don't think that's the ideal approach, but we respect our stagers' desire to run their business the way they want to run it, so we'll do it as you wish.
So am I understanding that if there's a monthly rental, that you'll send a monthly rental check to the stager?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we do it all the time.
Absolutely.
There you go. So Bobby's got a question. Some stagers provide general contracting services. Would Zoom Casa still provide this service without the additional vendors added by Zoom Casa?
Yes, but the vendors, the contractors have to be vetted. They have to be licensed, insured, et cetera. So there's the same vetting process. We've not met a stager yet that is also a general contractor. We'd love to meet.
I know one. I only know one.
But we'd love to meet them then, because that's the total package.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and she's in Nashville. Do we have
One of our
to
favorites.
on the platform? No. $0. Big $0. Totally free for you to be part of this. Zoom Casa is getting their money back out of escrow for taking the risk. So that's how they're making their money. They're not going to charge you for the lead, and you don't have to do anything to be on the platform other than be a fantastic dynamic stager who wants to make some money.
Look at Bobby.
And Bobby says she's so glad that relationships are being considered, and she thanks you for that. So Amy's saying, if the contract expires and the seller needs to extend the staging contract, How do we get paid our monthly renewal fee? Does the stager invoice in Casa? Okay, so I'm a little bit behind on some of these. So yes, you will get a monthly check in up to 6 months. If it goes after 6 months, at that point, I think everybody's going to be reevaluating the situation.
Exactly.
Right.
Goodness of staging, or if they need a price reduction at that point.
And usually we'll call you or contact you at the end of the month, because sometimes what happens is the homeowner calls the stager to get their inventory out because the house is closing and we don't get told. So there's usually some communication around that time. But if you as a stager get called to take your furniture out because the home's in escrow, we really appreciate if you let us know.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, we're going to communicate back and forth. So Sandy asked, is there a fee to become a partner? Nope, no fees, completely free. And Kim's asking, what about your marketing materials that you can give to the stagers? Do you have some co-branded materials that you create for them?
We have a variety of materials, 4 main pieces, and we're glad to brand it or co-brand it however you like. And so there's 2 pieces for the benefit of homeowners and 2 pieces for the benefit of realtors. And they each, for homeowners and realtors, speak to the benefits of staging and the benefits of renovation. And we have data in there that speak to the return on staging. It's the highest return, and we know we're preaching to the choir here. It's the highest return investment they can make to get homes ready for sale. And we talk about our philosophy and how it's a lot. We understand, and we're trying to help you guys educate realtors, that it's a lot more than just the provision of furniture. It's the selection of furniture, it's the installation, and how, and you guys know this better than we do. You install the furniture to make the house look great, maximize the apparent space, etc. And so we articulate all that in the marketing materials that can be handed to a realtor who may be on the fence, who may not fully understand, or if you're talking to a homeowner and they may not fully understand, it gives data, etc. So we absolutely have that. We'd be glad to co-brand it however you like.
We do that for you, so you don't have to deal with the admin brain damage.
Yep, that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about the app, because the app is a great tool that you can use. Stagers, you don't have to use the app, but everybody likes app and technology these days, so I would highly suggest that you try it out, see how it works. Fred, can you give us a rundown on how the app works?
Certainly. So we actually haven't launched the app yet. We'll be launching it with RESA.
Sorry guys, I have inside information on the app, but I'm just so excited about it. Cat's out of the bag. Guess what, people? An app is coming.
So we talked to a lot of stagers around the country, and we wanted to learn about their business processes, because with every one of the partners we work with, we try to be as unobtrusive as possible and respect industry norms and figure out how do we make our concierge service fit into your existing business processes as opposed to dictating terms. So one of the things we learned was that a lot of stagers around the country didn't have a bidding proposal mechanism. They also were not using a CRM function. So bids were getting presented in Word docs sometimes in the bodies of emails. But what was lacking from a lot of these proposals was strong information, such as NAR statistics about how much more staged homes sell versus non-staged homes. And the data is convincing and strong. So from our understanding and based on our research, the most recent NAR data is that staged homes sell for 3% more than non-staged homes. And we realized that we think the strongest sales pitch to a homeowner is to say in a proposal that if you have a $500,000 house, and let's just use round numbers, the staging cost is $5,000. It's a $500,000 house. So on our platform, the staging cost would be $6,000 at escrow, or $5,000 if they would like to pay in cash up front. But according to NAR, that 3% of $500,000 house is $15,000. So we realized that in our opinion, and everyone runs their business differently, but in our opinion, the most impactful sales presentation says that this is the price to stage your home. This is the option to pay at escrow. This is the option to pay up front. Your home, you could capture up to $15,000 of value by either making a $5,000 cash investment today or taking $6,000 out of your house when it sells. But that investment turns into $15,000, according to NAR. And we realized that one of the biggest problems that stagers have is the administrative difficulties of running their business. You're constantly bidding jobs, putting in inventory, taking inventory out, buying. So much going on that it's really hard to keep up with a lot of the admin functions. So electronic signatures, for instance, were not pervasive. Very few people have a CRM or bidding functionality that will take their contract and automatically fill it out with the homeowner's information and automatically send it to get a signature and just be a seamless process. So we looked for a third-party solution. As we've talked to a lot of stagers, We couldn't find one. Very few of the stagers on our platform could find one. So we said, we're going to build one. And that's what we've done. So we're looking to roll it out with RESA members first. It'll be a bidding application with some CRM functionality. What does that mean? It means that you have a login. You access the app. When you're in a client's home and you're preparing your proposal, you enter in, this is my price for 30, 60, 90 days, however you like to bid it. This is the monthly fee thereafter. You get the client's listing price of the home that they propose listing price, and you get the homeowner and the agent's contact information. So you enter those few data points, and our app takes your logo and brands emails with very modern graphic design work, and it gets sent to the homeowner and the real estate agent, explaining the sales pitch, which I just explained, which is, this is the cost to stage your home. This is the option to pay now or pay out of escrow. This is the potential return on that investment and why we think it's a sound investment. Here's a link to my portfolio where you can see photos if you wish. Here's some information about my company. And it gives them the option. So click if I want to pay up front, click if I want to pay out of escrow. In either case, it is built in the automated functionality. So it takes your form contract, it fills it out with the homeowner's information. It sends them a DocuSign link. And this is all automated. You don't have to click a button to sign the contract. It emails you for your records a signed, executed contract and a thumbs up. So you know that all your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed, you're ready to go. If they elect to pay out of escrow, it automatically generates a check from our accounting department. It gets sent to you that very day. Seamless process. Now, the cool part is the CRM functionality. Now, we ask stagers, how many of the proposals that you send out do you win? How many do you never hear back from? How many do you negotiate pricing on? And very few people were able to give us accurate statistics. And we think it's critical, if you want to understand your market and to grow a successful business, to understand what your market is telling you, what the customer feedback is. So part of this functionality is a dashboard to see that I went to 10 homes last week, 3 proposals were accepted, 5 I sent out, they opened them, this is the time they opened the email, and I haven't heard back yet. And 2 said my pricing was too high, whatever that might be. So those statistics really help you run a business. That being said, we're not a software company. We're not a staging company. We don't use or sell or rent your data. We're building a tool for stagers with the idea that something that if I was a stager, I would want. Because we're looking to support stagers in the industry as a whole. So we don't do anything with your data. This is something you can use, and there's no obligation to do it. But we spent a lot of time and a lot of money into building it and building it right, that give it a shot.
Yeah, I love it because it's something that is optional. Again, if you already have your own system for collecting your bids and your DocuSigns and your contracts, awesome. Try it once, see if you like it. If you don't have to do it again. But if you're new, especially new in the business, and you don't quite have these systems down, I think this is going to be a really simple answer for a lot of people. So I really, really like the app. And the good news is it is getting launched to RESA members first. So we'll get an opportunity to beta test it and give feedback for improvements. And I'm super excited about that. Let's see, Sheila's asking, how do you have access? Do you have an online collateral where you can download? So Sheila, once you become an actual approved partner, that's when they're going to send you your co-branded materials. And then if you ever need anything in the future, you'll just be able to reach out again and to be able to connect. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So Bobby's asking, is there a minimum amount required to utilize Zoom? On the occupied site, sometimes an entire service using their items can still run anywhere between $1,000 to $10,000. There's just minimum that their fee is going to be $1,000 minimum on their end of it. So whatever you work your math backwards, not going to be me doing it for you, but that's their minimum of what they would need to be able to run a deal. So Shannon is asking about separate services, design related, but not staging or contractors, such as renovation plans, color consults, or finished designs. Are they, as long as they're selling the house and there's an escrow to be paid out of?
Yeah, we'll facilitate whatever you need. And this has come up sometimes. The homeowner has existing furniture that they want to retain, but they need moved out, or they need stored. We'll facilitate the moving, the expense of the moving, and roll that into the escrow program. We'll facilitate the storage expense and roll that into the escrow program. Really, whatever helps you, the stager, win the work and do it fantastically well, just call. We'll bend over backwards to help make anything happen, genuinely.
And maybe you go out and see a house and it was a partial stage and you say, you know what, the furniture there is really terrible. Maybe we should take it all out, store it, and do a full stage.
What about shipping a pod from California to North Carolina?
I'll ship it to the moon.
We'll do it.
I was thinking maybe I could ship my horse transport into that one too, but he's going to come with me.
I'll drive it.
Oh, we're getting some feedback. I think it's a genius idea, Danielle. Martha loves the concept. This is good news. I saw a couple people back before also saying this was genius, so people are very excited about it. But Martha Moore wants to know, what if they don't want to do escrow and they choose a cash option? How much do we pay you and the DocuSign the documents and putting the proposal together?
So at the beta, it'll be free. When we implement it, I think we're going to charge 50 cents a transaction that you actually do. So if you bid a job, you don't win it, it's $0. If you win it, it might be 50 cents.
Now, Martha, that means that if the client comes to you first and you wanted to use their platform to send the bid, that's when you pay. If they're contacting you to bid the job on a lead that Zoom Casa gets, there's no payment. There's no payment from you.
Yeah, but it'll be 50 cents or some de minimis amount of money.
Love the concept. How are you finding clients?
When they say clients, you mean stagers or you mean homeowners?
Well, your clients are real estate agents primarily. Let's talk about the great deal you have with that fantastic brokerage.
So we have a deal with Sotheby's, among other brokerages. Sotheby's is one of our biggest clients. We offer their concierge services for their brokers, for their agents. So as a Sotheby's agent, you get a branded Sotheby's app that has a dedicated customer service rep. And the agent goes on the app and it says, I want the listing painted, flooring, power washing, and staging. And one of our representatives contacts them, usually within an hour. We usually coordinate to have a proposal in their hand within 3 business days.
Awesome. Awesome. Next question. If the home sellers are wanting to buy furniture, I don't not use the glasses. If the home sellers are wanting to buy furniture for the sale of their home, is the service still available? Bobby, I would say anything that's included. If it's going to be a rental or a purchase, it doesn't matter. It's your service that you're getting paid for up front and they're deferring payment. So all that would be included. The average cost for a vacant is $2,200 in an area of California. Hey, Sheila, can you type in where you're from in that area? So if I can kind of zoom back to that later.
I will say that typically the way we overcome the minimum is by offering other services as well. But if your business is just doing staging or partials, it's a much lower dollar volume, reach out to us. We might be able to work something out to figure out in your particular area how to structure it differently. But I mean, that's the tough. We have some fixed costs. That's the issue.
Yeah.
But we'll do whatever we can to help you.
Okay, so Danielle appreciates you, Fred. She said you were very kind to answer all her questions previously, and she thanks you.
Hi, Danielle.
Lola's loving what she's hearing, and Bobby's got a woohoo. And Sheila's in Sacramento Metro. Sheila, I think the average cost for that in that area, I think that's a little low. I know I'm in Valley Springs and I'm paying more for that from staging of my home. Happy to do so, but we could, if you want a coaching call afterwards or look at pricing, feel free to call Jacqueline and get you on my schedule. I'm happy to meet with you.
Can I add one thing?
Sure.
What I would say is that one of the ways we want you to use our service is as a means to increase your pricing as a stager.
Absolutely.
Because, I mean, the Sacramento Metro, you'd be hard-pressed to find a home that's worth less than $400,000 that is worthy of staging. And if you're talking about a home that's worth $400,000, let's pull out NAR stats saying that 3% of that's $12,000.
Yeah.
That's a potential value creation. I think you could, if you were able to say to the homeowner, pay out escrow, I think you could materially increase your pricing.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go circle back to Sotheby's quickly. Shannon, they're not just partnered with Sotheby's. It's just one of the larger ones that they have. So they are partnered with other brokerages. So that's the beauty about this as well, is because their primary clients, they are making arrangements with the brokerages, such as Sotheby's and others. So all those agents that may not even know about staging or know about you, they're using the platform. So if you get on the Zoom Casa platform, what a great networking tool. Now you've just met up with all new agents that don't know about you. You'll end up meeting them through the particular project. You're also going to have access to their network of all the people on the network, the contractors, the floor people, the painters, everybody that's on their network, you will also have access to them as well. So there's a lot of ways that you guys can network and help everybody grow their businesses.
That's exactly right.
And can we direct brokerages to them? Yes, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. Please let everybody know about Casa. Can you name any of the other brokerages that you're working with?
So Sotheby's is the only brokerage that we work with on a corporate level. Most brokerages are franchise owned, but we work with some Keller Williams offices. We work with some EXP offices. We work with some Berkshire Hathaway offices, Coldwell Banker, Engel and Volkers. A lot of times it takes one agent Douglas Elliman. A lot of times it takes one entrepreneurial agent to understand the value of concierge that brings us in. So, I mean, if you go to a brokerage meeting and you introduce the service, I'll tell you right now that as a stager, you're introducing them to something that's truly valuable and helps justify their commission and helps them sell those homes faster for more money and get them more listings. That's our value add proposition to agents, is that use us to win more listings. So I think that they'll certainly appreciate that.
If you look at what's going on in the brokerage industry right now, it's being a little bit disrupted by discount brokers, Redfins. And so a lot of the smarter brokers, and really most across the country, are recognizing that in order to justify their full 6%, they need to bring more value to bear. And so they're looking for solutions that allow them to do so. And so we are positioning ourselves as that solution. And so we're getting calls from these brokerage firms saying, so you can provide a one-stop total solution that allows us to not only sell the homes faster and for more money, but win listings by being able to justify our service. And that's exactly how we're positioning ourselves. And so we seek to bring all of our platform partners along as part of that solution. So people who understand that, they're going to benefit from what's really going to be a real large tailwind to the industry for those firms that can bring more value to the home selling process. And that's exactly what this is all about. And firms that recognize that and are on our platform are going to come along with that and really benefit.
Yeah, absolutely. Can we think of anything we've left off? I think we've covered a lot. I don't even need to go to the slides.
We're glad to answer any questions offline.
Yeah, we're still here. We've actually got 10 more minutes left on the webinar. If you don't have questions, we can end early. If you do, we are all more than happy to stay until every single question is answered. Danielle is saying, just a note, because this is a new concept, the stagers who offer this are the minority, and this will help stand out amongst the competition.
Absolutely.
So correct. And the good news is too, is that even if you have, you have 10 stagers in your town and all 10 are on the platform, that's okay, because most of your leads would come from your clients that you're massaging and developing relationships anyway. So if they're going to make a choice, they're already with you anyway. So you're not worried about losing anything to a competitor. How do we sign up?
So you visit our website. There's an app. If you go to the Stager tab, there's a button that says Get on the Platform. It's a simple application. We ask for some information about your business, insurance documentation, etc. Maybe one thing that we should talk about briefly is what the qualification process and approval process is like.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I may, we need to make sure that you are a professional stager, that you run a legitimate business, that you have a tax ID number, so when we pay you, we can appropriately document it. We need to make sure that you have insurance, that if you have W-2 employees, you have workers' comp, you have liability insurance. If you're moving your own furniture and have moving trucks, you have auto insurance. We also ask for a copy of your contract, just so we have it for our files. It means we need to make sure that every one of our vendors is operating within the confines of the law. There's no obscene terms in it. But it's really for quality and vet for quality. So one of the other things we look for is, do you have a professional website? Do you have professional photography? And we're not trying to be intrusive. We just need to make sure that our reputation is intact.
We want to make sure folks are certified by the national accreditation agencies. We want to make sure that they've been trained properly.
Members of associations.
So we only want to bring professionals to bear because they represent us, they represent themselves, and so that's part of the overall value add.
And the other thing is we ask about your pricing. So if someone applies to join our platform, we have typically a telephone interview. One of the first questions we ask is, can you tell me a little bit about your pricing strategy? And on our application, we ask, what are your thoughts on pricing? How do you think about it when you're bidding a job. And we want to know that because we don't work with underbidders. And we think there's an endemic problem in the industry, which is that folks are underbidding jobs, either to win them or because they don't want to have profitable businesses, or their inventory is inferior or their product is inferior. But regardless, professional stagers, RESA members are competing with folks that are underbidding jobs. So we want to make sure that everyone on our platform is a professional and charges market rate prices. And by market rate, meaning that it's a profitable job for you to run a business and run a professional business, meaning you have insurance, meaning that you have a website, meaning you can afford to operate and have an admin function. So that's what's critical to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Sandy has a question. We provide RESA stagers that focus on occupied homes only. Absolutely, Sandy. Now, obviously, if they get a lead in and it says, they say up front it's a vacant and you only do occupied, and you were on that next round robin, they would have to skip over you and go to the next person that did vacants. But absolutely, this is for all staging. So nobody's going to be left out on that. And yeah, Kim, I agree. I think this can absolutely, get out some of the hobbyist stagers as well.
And I'll tell you, the experience that we've had with the hobbyists is that we'll get a lead on our platform, and we will provide a proposal to the client with one of the stagers on our platform and maybe a painter or some other bids. In fact, we recently had a job in Los Angeles, and this is not your typical house, but just to give you an example, it was a house up in the hills, and it had really hard access issues. And one of the stagers on our platform bid the job at just under $18,000. It's a lot of money, but it's because you had to carry the furniture down a path made of little flat rocks. You'd have to carry the furniture down this path, and it was about 150 yards. So our stager on our platform bid the job at $17,000. The homeowner thought it was high, so they asked us to get a second bid. And what we tell homeowners is that if the bid is even like in the range of normal, we tell them, listen, this is a fair price provided by one of our platform partners. We think it's fair and represents the value you're going to achieve on this house. And granted, it's a few $1 million house. The homeowner said, okay. They called someone on Yelp, who was another staging company, who bid the job for $7,000 or $7,800. Forget the exact number, but it was less than half. Now, that stager's not on our platform. She does not have insurance. She does not have a professional photography. She does not have a professional website. Now, ordinarily, you think, well, it's a no-brainer decision. The homeowner would probably pick the cheaper bid. It's a lot of money difference. In this case, because the price that we gave the homeowner was out of escrow, even though the cost was almost twice as much, actually more than twice as much, they still went with us and went with our partner. So we help you achieve higher pricing, higher average sales pricing, and not compete on price.
Absolutely, I love that. And yeah, Diane, the webinars, these are all recorded and they're available through reseducation.com afterwards, and any RESA member can take a look at that anytime that you like. And actually, we'll put this on the public page on the RESA website as well, so you don't even have to log into anything. Just any stage, or even if you're not a RESA member, you can go to the Zoom Casa page on RESA, and we will have the link for you there as well. Any other questions? Keep typing them in there.
If you're interested in joining our beta for the app, which will hopefully launch in the next couple of weeks, we'd love to have you join to use it. We'd love any feedback you can provide. Just know that it is a beta, so there might be a couple glitches here and there, but we're committed to getting it right. So feel free, maybe they can reach out to Shell, or feel free to reach out via our website. Let us know. We'd love to get you on the app.
Absolutely. I'm really excited about that. I just wanted to go over one more time just to make sure everybody's clear. So there's a couple things that stand out that we want to make sure that everybody understands. And one is why Zoom Casa will ask for a copy of your contract. So if they're going to give you leads, they want to make sure that you have a legitimate contract. Part of them getting paid is, they also want the home to sell. They want everything to go really well. So they're going to just check the contract to make sure that everything's accurate, it's up to date. If there's things missing in your contract that they know because they've talked with me and they have relationships with stagers, things that absolutely are crucial, they'll probably make a recommendation to you and point that out so you can be educated on that. On the other hand, they're going to also just give you some language, additional language. So when you do end up signing somebody through taking to be able to take your payment out of escrow to defer their payment, they're going to give you the language to be able to add to your contract, and they're going to do that for you. You can add it onto your contract, so it's perfectly clear that you get paid up front and that it's coming out of escrow. And then, of course, once we connect Zoom Casa with the clients, and they're going to handle their paperwork on there and use it to get paid out of escrow. So I wanted to make sure that we were very clear on that. Does anybody have any other questions about the vetting process, contracts, insurance, anything at all? Anything goes as we're coming to the end of our time together. Are the staging costs tax deductible for the homeowner? Well, there are certain tax deductibility on certain things that you can do when you're preparing for your home for sale. Sophie, you need to check with your CPA for that information. Anything else, gentlemen?
I think that's it. Thank you so much for the time to clarify this for membership and the industry.
Absolutely. Well, I'm super excited about Zoom Casa, and the more I hear about it, the more we get to know it. Just know, everybody, that it is a new program, and Ted and Fred are extremely open to feedback. If something's not working quite right with you, please just pick up a phone call, ask them. Please always give people the benefit of the doubt. That's especially true for any entrepreneur, just as yourself when you're starting your businesses. This is new. It's close to their heart. It's close to my heart when I start something new. So always give people the benefit of the doubt. If something doesn't sound right, it probably isn't right. So give them a call and check it out. If y'all are on the fence about coming to RESACon, please come because you can meet Fred and Ted directly there at RESACon. Casa is one of our host sponsors at RESACon, and we thank them for our sponsorship. Because without companies like Casa, your cost to attend RESACon would be much higher than it is right now, because they absorb some of that cost to bring their products and services to help you grow your business. Again, if you're on that fence, jump off that fence, go to RESAconvention.com, get your ticket today. We still have early bird pricing and also the Home Staging Industry Awards. You've all received an email with how to vote if you are a RESA member. So please go and vote, because that is taking place over the next 6 weeks. And winners will be announced at our awards banquet at RESACon. That's it for me today. Until next time, 12 Rod Master with RESA, and happy staging. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you for the time.